learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into January 7th, 2021, and the stock market went crazy in many different ways. Today was a very, very wild day, and it was for many reasons. You had the runoffs, you had the storming of Capitol Hill during the election certification with the House, and you also had some China stocks affected that we talked about yesterday. So this was a very wild day. A lot happened. A lot of things were dramatic, over dramatic. I was even over dramatic in some ways. So we have a lot to look for the rest of this week. Even what the market has done with the blue wave. Again, certain industries, bank stocks killed it. Tech stocks actually went down, but today was a big move in a lot of different sectors and industries. So we have a lot to talk about. I got the plays, I got the keys, all of the plays we made today. I sold some options that we've been holding. I bought a couple. I did a couple YOLO spy put, and then all of the other plays we're going to be looking at the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if you just want to chat away while watching history in the stock market, then we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, like I said, today was dramatic, historic, but it was not immediate. So everything is still going on in many ways over there. You're still seeing the Capitol building. That was the big deal today. We started really reacting. You saw the market react, and it even coincided with a lot of different moves. Maybe I got to take you guys back to the chart. You could see a little bit more of how just today played out in general. So here was the pre-market. You had early results of a Democratic win. Remember, we've been talking about the runoff elections. By the time the market opened, you had one Democrat confirmed. The market was down a little bit from yesterday's close, but right when the market opened, it started to shoot up. We are going to talk about the bond market today, so I mean, keep this in mind here, because right when the market opened, everything shot up, and then right around here, that is when the Capitol building was stormed during the vote. And then at the same time, you also had some China news that Alibaba and Tencent are potentially going to get added to the ban list that we've been talking about. And then the market closed, and that was pretty much it. This is after hours. You didn't see much. They have this situation under control again at the Capitol, but a lot of things went down. And like I'm saying, it wasn't too immediate. You saw the market go down throughout the day, kind of getting ready to react as the situation was dragged on. It did get a little bit worrisome, but I even think I was a little bit more freaked out while it was happening. You've seen the crowds disperse a little bit. It was definitely something or an image we have not seen, but the effects are kind of more forward looking, whether we're talking 4 years or the next few days. If anything, the biggest news today, so even though I grabbed some YOLO spy puts, we were trying to play them. I wouldn't even call them YOLO plays, just small protection plays. Only the YOLO ones are the ones with really little time, so I did grab one contract with only 2 days left, but the big play was that Baba and Tencent news. So we've been talking about that China stuff and all of that, but that did come out today when all of this stuff was happening, that Baba and Tencent will be added to the list. So I think this was probably your biggest news. And then now coming to the blue wave, the stock market really, really loved it. So even though we were kind of expecting something, we've been looking at the probabilities and odds, that just was not the case. You know, I didn't bite on the election. If you guys want to remember how people were like, should we play the election? And it really wasn't that big of a deal. You did see somewhat of a move, but the option premiums didn't go too crazy. But I did fall for the pump fake on this runoff. Nonetheless, though, I will say we should be watching the dollars and bonds and even Bitcoin, because the question is, how is this going to hold up? So today was the first day. A lot of things went on. I want to see if we digest, but for the most part, the market did what it usually does. It kind of reacts a little bit to some potential headwinds as the event happens. The market realizes, well, it's not that big of a deal, comes up with a different idea, and then keeps going. So I will show you guys when we get to the plays how those plays played out, but I want to see if this plays out for the rest of the week. And we even talked about that. That's where the dollars, bonds, and Bitcoin, if you were on stream, we talked about that star pattern. So today was kind of the first step, and I want to see what happens from there. But now, as far as even the result, you saw tech got hit by it, but then banks and almost everything else, a lot of value stocks, they really, really love the blue wave. And this is why today was also crazy, because if you don't really notice it, you saw some big moves. The China stocks moved. Apple was down 2-3%. Same thing with Facebook. But then you come to some of these healthcare companies like UNH, we got burned on that play. That was a complete whiff. That was down 4%. If you go look at JP Morgan, even Goldman Sachs, they're up 5%. So there was some really, really big winners, even though the market seems like it didn't do much and even the NASDAQ closed red. You got some level of volatility and just overall big moves. The fact all indexes closed differently, that's kind of pointing to that. So those were pretty much the main things. Again, how this plays out, whether it is social issues now or even everything with this, we will probably find out the vote by tonight. So we're going to see how that plays out. But then you also have the China stock ban thing. I believe that's January 10th or January 11th. And then we need to see day 2 and all of the full digestion from everything we saw today with the vote. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I made a lot of plays, but there is one I really, really like. I was thinking about it after hours, and that is the NEO put. So I talked about the BABA puts yesterday. I ended up grabbing those. I was going to grab them in the morning. I waited a little bit, and then the news came out, and then I kind of was like, okay, I don't want to get caught without it, because I was like, well, you have market volatility, and you have the additional news. We were kind of early to it, so I did grab leaps, but the spreads were crazy as they were. I talked about that. I did probably spend, I think I overpaid by at least like 50 cents, $1 on all the contracts, but they did hold up. Again, there was some volatility. BABA ended up closing lower, so we'll see. But then the one I really liked, it had a reaction. Again, when BABA kind of got put on that list, that's a big, big target. You started to see every other China stock move. So then that's where NEO comes in. I grabbed me some NEO puts, and I really, really like this play. So given NEO is backed by the Chinese government, I think it could have some effect. I think it's going to get the weakness, and the fact that when I bought NEO, it was at like $5. I sold it at like 15, 20. It is definitely up a lot. So I said, hey, might as well get some leaps on it. So I did grab 1-year puts on it, January 2022, 10 of the $12 puts at 93 cents a pop. So I spent about $900 for all of them. So these ones I think kind of closed slightly down, or given the spread, it looked like they did a little bit. So you could see the chart. They're just really hanging at the bottom here. This is just, you would need NEO to go down. I just think they have exposure to all of this. And again, the fact that 3 months ago they were going for about $14, I mean, it's possible, maybe not probable based on the price, but I think anything could happen here. But I really, really do want exposure to those China stocks. So I did put a lot more on the Alibaba one, but if anything, I may want to see how this is going to play out, but I'm going to use that first play that I made as a scale in. As far as the second play and the other one, I'm going to be watching these. I'm going to also use this as a scale in too, but I went really, really big on him. They were expensive. I got caught up in the moment a little bit. I grabbed 10 of the BABA June 21st. These only have 6 months of time. I wanted to get closer to the money, but I bought them at 508, and I don't want to make this comparison, but all in all, BABA just kind of in a weird way reminds me of Boeing, and kind of how Boeing, before you kind of saw the Boeing dip. Let me get a wider chart up here. They don't have the 10-year, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So there's Boeing. Maybe you could see what I'm talking about. Maybe double Boeing. I don't know, but that even took a long time. But if BABA has the target on their back, anything which is some of the news develops, that is not going to be a pretty look. So as far as the play, like I said, those were far at the money. I got 6 months of time. I could have got a lot more time, but I wanted to get a little bit closer to the money. At 160, I'm like $60 out the money, which is still a pretty decent amount out the money. So here's the play here. Again, the spreads are just almost $1. So even at the $5, I pretty much paid the price it was the last few days. This is why you guys know I've been talking about it. I've kind of been waiting. I could have really scooped them at the bottom if I was a little bit earlier throughout the day, or I actually did end up buying them, but you could kind of see how it moved. But all throughout the day, the volatility was just crazy out of nowhere. Right when it started dropping, it was a really, really big candle. So that was on the news right there. I'm going to be holding that play. It has some time. I am going to treat that though, even as a scaling, but it is a much larger position. And then finally, I'll show you the other plays we made, but I am also going to be watching ABBV. So this is also related to the play I made today. I made that UNH trade. That thing got clapped. I mean, kind of, we lost 16%. You could kind of see this is kind of the benefits with time. We lost $300. It was like a $2,000 position, but they were up for a little bit in the morning too, because things opened down a little bit, and then that quickly reversed within like probably 5 minutes. But we still got time on them. I'm holding them. But then one thing you'll notice throughout the day, all of the healthcare stocks, they really, really did rip. So you could even watch Cigna. UNH was up 4-5%. These are really, really big moves. So the one I really want to watch is ABBV, because you can see how they're kind of holding up. They haven't really slipped from that big run up. And remember, they popped following the election and everything. You can kind of see how they traded. So they didn't move up too much. They didn't move down too much. I think it's going to be neutral. And if this digests, it may start wave 2. We'll see. Otherwise, it's just going to cuck, and this one could probably be a good one to sell premium on. So there was that. And then as far as the rest of the plays I made today, or actually I'll come back to the E-Trade, I did grab one Acacia, ACIA. They had confirmation of their deal or something. I think it was even related to China, but they started dropping. So the option chain was really, really weird. It was really, really crazy. I didn't even announce it. I announced it, but I said, hey, be careful. I didn't even want to say it. I just said I grabbed a put. I grabbed one for a quarter. It went crazy. Some people even fat fingered at $2. It was a wild option chain. So you could even tell by it. I only spent 25 bucks keeping it small. I didn't really believe in it that much. So I'm pretty sure that one ended up getting clapped. We'll just see, but I'm not really expecting too much from that. Then everything else, or at least here on the E-Trade, you guys will see, I ended up selling the Disney. And I was thinking, you know, the news was a little bit crazy today, but all in all, the fact was you had this big update. You could look across the board, you know, if things even shot up, they shot up really, really well. So like even Disney went up, you know, they were up 0.5%. But the point was, if you had a good day today, the overall market was up. There was real winners and losers. The options that I saw go up, but not a lot. I've been holding these. I've told you I've considered selling them up. If today wasn't enough to kind of pop them, I said, hey, you're even getting a little volatility. Now might be a good time to take some profits. So I sold the 3 Disneys at 540. We bought these at 60 cents, so just under 1,000%, but I got like 1,500 bucks back. So not bad at all. And then I also sold the BIDUs in the morning because, again, I was telling you guys I'm a little sketched out by the China situation. You can see the plays that I'm making. So why would I be holding a leap in BIDU? We already got a good run up. It was looking a lot stronger. So I said, let's take some profits here. I sold that final one. Again, it's a leap. I have a year of time on it, but this thing did go up a lot. Remember, we bought it for $900 and I already sold one at 26, sold the final one at 3,100, took those profits. And then I also sold that Tesla. I forgot I even owned this. I got a Tesla 1180. Again, Tesla was a real winner early on in the day, and then it kind of came down. So I decided to sell it because, again, if they had these big pops on some of these stocks and it didn't really drive these options up too much, we saw any sort of down day, it could kind of hurt volatility, or things could just get a little bit more volatile, or if the pace of some of these moves slows down, you could see a nice little theta crush on that. So there was that. Then as everything was developing, I got 5 of these SPY January 8th. This one was the gamble one. I even said it as it was all developing. I said, hey, let me throw 200 bucks on it. I grabbed 362.50 puts for the end of the week at 41 cents. So that's literally $2.50 below that 365. So this one's a little bit more possible. The fact was you spent a lot of money, 41 cents with only 2 days of time left. This was an expensive contract. So the market, it did end up closing, I think, only 18% because that factored in after hours, but it was up 100%. You're going to see that contract move a lot because it is a volatile weekly. And then as things were kind of even developing a little bit more, I said, all right, I have exposure through the tech stocks. I have exposure through the China stocks. If we start to see things get any sort of volatile, the fact was I just never saw what we saw today. This play was a little bit more dramatic, I would say. I spent $1,000, but if anything, given the amount of calls and other stuff we're holding, the GHIV, all of that, even though I do have old exposure, even though I pretty much say this anytime I do grab any of these puts, and you guys have seen this before, so understand that, I figured I want to throw $1,000 more, get me a little bit more protection. If anything, it's kind of like paying the dealer at this point, but today was a little bit shaky. I was sketched out. These could be a little bit early in any of these plays. What I really would say when I go about any of these put plays, if I'm really convinced in it, I will tell you guys, but on these aren't the ones that you put a lot of money down. These aren't the ones you should be betting your whole account on, or a big portion of your account, especially if you're on a small account. Remember, none of this is a recommendation. Option trading is again, lose almost financial, lose all financial education, purpose, one thing for today. But seriously, you don't want to be going too crazy on these. So threw $1,000 on them still, but I don't necessarily think these are going to hit. The idea would be if there's any volatility, we can make them free. We did that with those EEMs, those IWMs. We will see how it plays out. If anything, I would say I'm getting a little greedy with these plays because, again, I still had that exposure, but it wasn't index related. It was more individual companies. So those were all the plays that we made today. As far as everything else, I am going to be watching those Facebook and even the Google puts that we're still holding. I did not even see how they closed. I think they were up today. Yeah, they came up along with the Zooms, and then I think the Googles, like they were just all over the place, but tech still went down. So that play is actually working in my favor. Again, those UNHs we saw close down. I will be watching the China stocks, those JP Morgans. You guys remember we got those bank stocks the beginning of the week. They closed up 25%, not too crazy, not too bad. Again, they had a little bit more time on there, so they're further out the money, but I will be watching bank stocks. I want to just see if any of this stuff continues, so keep your eye on them. Then there was ABBV. Then I would watch Tesla, but again, I mean, all of these are all this stuff that we either sold out of. I want to see how it plays. Maybe maybe we try to double dip, but I'm going to probably give it a couple weeks. I will watch the values like Walgreens. Those are breaking out, but I really like the ABBV play coming into the rest of this week. And then I'm also just mainly going to be watching NEO and the China stocks, because other than that, you're going to see how kind of news drives the market. And then we're going to start getting into earnings season, and then it's going to be earnings. So get ready for that. But finally, our favorite ones, TLT and UUP. We talked about this today. What you need to see with this, the fact that TLT dropped, this is a big level. You guys have watched these videos, especially towards the end. I brought this up every time, especially in these last few months. So it finally broke that level. This is partly why banks liked it, but this is why we need to see how everything plays out, because now the dollar should be going up.
Excuse me, I meant to say dollar goes down, TLT goes up. Sorry.
And like I said at the beginning of this video, even watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin really skyrocketed today. And Bitcoin is, if anything, kind of pointing as an indicator of inflation at the rate that it's going, or at least asset inflation. So you saw the dollar go down, but not too much. But relative to bonds, the dollar at one point throughout the day, and this is what I was talking about, you guys will watch kind of that flip-flop. But when TLT was really down, that means bonds were shooting up. But then at the same time now, at that moment, the dollar was actually getting stronger on the day. It barely closed weaker. So with Bitcoin shooting up, with TLT going down, bond yields going higher, we should see the dollar really shoot down. So now the question is, how long is that going to take to see bonds and the dollar react? And that was the key here. So this is going to let us know if we should start seeing more inflation, what industries, and again, how the market is really digesting everything. Because I think right when the market opened, that move you saw with bonds, you saw the dislocation between dollar and TLT. I think that caused some of the activity that you saw here with the market. So I think it's only just beginning for 2021. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to crush the idols, baby. You are God. But the code love you. I love you. I'll see you in the morning. Let's go.